My wife admitted to being with someone else for 4 years because she was tired of our routine. Can you imagine dedicating over 2 decades of your life to someone, building a family, only for them to confess they cheated for 4 years because they were bored? And then, after disappearing without a trace, she wants to come back, as if my world hadn't just been shattered into a million pieces. Sarah and I, we've been together for 23 years, practically since high school. Married for 17. We built a life, a beautiful family with our 3 girls, Chloe, who's 15, Mia at 13, and little Lily, 11. Our lives were normal, or so I thought. Then, 3 days ago, Sarah came home from work. The next morning, she just left. Chloe saw her pack a small overnight bag, sobbing, barely able to speak. Sarah was almost in a panic. And then she was gone. No calls, no texts, nothing. It was like she vanished into thin air. My heart was pounding. I called her parents, her brother, her sister, even her colleagues. Everyone gave me vague answers, or claimed they knew nothing. Her parents just said, "She's safe with us, Ethan. Just be understanding, be patient." Patient? My wife just disappeared. Her coworker confirmed she'd shown up for work, but left by midday, 3 days earlier. No one, absolutely no one, was giving me real answers. So here I was, left with our 3 daughters, trying to keep it together. Every time they'd ask, "Dad, where's Mom? What happened?" All I could say was, "She's with Grandma and Grandpa, girls. We just need to be understanding." It felt like a lie. A crushing, empty lie. Our girls started to think we'd had a huge fight and were divorcing, but that was the furthest thing from the truth. We barely ever argued. We just didn't. My mind was racing, going in circles. I felt anxious, scared, furious. Every single emotion you can imagine, all at once. What was happening? Why would someone do this to their family? If something terrible had happened, your spouse is the first person you tell. Sarah was the person I'd lean on, but she was gone. And I was stuck in this agonizing limbo, with no answers, no one to turn to, just this suffocating silence. A few days later, after a long, sleepless night, I finally listened to the advice I'd been given. Since Sarah's dad wouldn't, I called the police for a wellness check. That's when the storm hit. That's when my world truly crumbled. It turned out everyone was right. Sarah had been having an affair for at least 2 years, maybe more. The other man, let's call him Mark, had died. A heart attack. On Tuesday. The same Tuesday she left. And it clicked. Sarah's sister and her mother, they knew. They had been covering for her, filling in the gaps of her secret life. My own family, my in-laws, were part of this elaborate lie. The betrayal cut deeper than I thought possible. Sarah still hadn't contacted me or the girls. Not a word. I was trying to shield them from this horrifying truth. But what do you do with something like this? How do you even begin to process it? This one piece of information felt like it could utterly destroy me. It was a physical blow. I felt hollowed out, empty. This wasn't just a wife leaving. This was a complete shattering of everything I believed in. Since then, it's been a blur of depressive episodes and intense, searing rage. Both feelings hit me at once, leaving me a zombie by day, barely able to function, and completely unable to sleep at night. My brain just wouldn't shut off. I met with attorneys, trying to figure out my options. I tried to follow advice, to take care of myself, but the motivation wasn't there. I mean, I'm 40, in pretty good shape, but even the thought of a workout felt impossible. Every day, it felt like a new bomb dropped. The affair wasn't just 2 years. It likely started much, much earlier. Mark, the man she cheated with, she'd known him for a while. The whole thing felt like a sick twist of fate, exploding after his death. Sarah was my wife, the mother of my 3 incredible girls, my best friend since high school. She was everything to me. We had our secret handshakes, our inside jokes, a lifetime of shared memories. And now, it's all gone. Every single milestone, every laugh, every moment we built together, just erased. It's paralyzing. The "how could you?" question replays constantly in my head. I'm consumed by this insatiable rage. I pound my mattress, scream into my pillow until my arms ache. It's a horrible, endless cycle. The only reason I sleep is sheer exhaustion, only to wake up and start the mental torment all over again. The girls, They're incredible, trying to take care of me like they're my parents, which isn't fair to them at all. I just wanted to know how anyone else sleeps with this kind of pain, this emptiness that fills the night. It's been over a week since my D-Day, and the truth continues to unravel. The affair, I now learned, spanned more than 4 years, starting emotionally before becoming physical. I was trying to piece together how the pandemic and lockdowns played into all of this, desperate for answers I might never get. Then, Sarah's parents showed up. They'd been sheltering her, which honestly felt absurd. They spent a measly 15 minutes with our girls before cornering me. The conversation was long, polite, but tense. Sarah, they said, wanted to come home, but she was terrified. Terrified of facing me, of facing what she'd done. Her parents, clearly humiliated, pushed hard for me to forgive her, to save the marriage. They wanted her out of their house. That much was clear. I played along, telling them I was unsure of my intentions. But internally I knew I was getting a divorce. Still, I needed the truth. I desperately wanted her to sit across from me, look me in the eyes, and explain everything. After 17 years of marriage, 3 children, a lifetime of memories, I deserve that. The girls deserve to see that I gave her the chance to apologize, to explain herself like a responsible adult. Every decision I made was for them. My attorney had already told me I couldn't legally bar Sarah from our house. She could walk in any time she wanted, but I wasn't ready to live with her. Not yet. The girls and we'd started to find a fragile routine without her. So, I set a condition, a demand I hoped would be impossible for her to meet, at least for a while. If she wants to come home, I told her parents, she needs to sit down with me, face to face. She needs to look me in the eyes and tell me everything about her affair, from beginning to end, without hesitation or more lies. And after that, I added, she needs to meet with the girls, apologize to them directly, and answer their questions. It felt only fair. They knew something was wrong. I knew she was legally free to return, that my demand had no legal backing. But I also knew she was terrified of facing us. Maybe, just maybe, I could use that fear to buy myself some time. Our state has a 90-day waiting period for divorce, and I just needed space to plan, to heal, to shore up my mental and emotional well-being. Sarah started texting the girls, apologizing over and over. She was asking about me daily. The weight of what she'd done, I could tell, was finally getting to her. Could this actually work? Could I get the truth? I had to believe in my future, in a future where my girls, and then myself, would be okay. After a truly awful weekend, Sarah came home. The tension in the air was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Normally, I'd rush to embrace her, to kiss her. This time, nothing. She tried to approach me, to hug me, but I just turned away. It was surreal, like she expected everything to be normal. I needed answers. I begged her, pleaded with her to tell me everything. But she just repeated the same line she'd given me on the phone. I'm not ready yet. Not ready? After 3 weeks of abandoning her family, after shattering our lives, I took a deep breath, trying desperately not to scream. And I failed. After a painful silence, I just blurted it out. You've been having an affair, Sarah, for over 4 years. You plan to leave me for another man. You ghosted your entire family. And now you walk back in here without meeting the one condition I asked for? I want a divorce. Her reaction, it was bizarre. Her face, her body language, it was clear she had no idea I knew anything about the affair. Her eyes went wide. Then she just stared at the kitchen floor, silent, stern. I expected an explosion, tears, a confession, maybe even her blaming me. But not this. Not a stony, empty silence. We stood there, frozen, for what felt like an eternity. 5 minutes of absolute, deafening quiet. It was the strangest, most unnerving moment of my life. I had prepared for every scenario, every possible argument. I'd even taken notes from all the advice I'd been given. But this blank, unfeeling wall, I started listing everything I knew. How she met Mark, her sister's involvement, what happened during COVID. I just kept talking, growing angrier with every word, but forcing myself not to curse, not to raise my voice. Finally, I calmed down. Another long, agonizing pause. The anger drained away. replaced by a profound sadness. I looked at her, then asked softly, "What did I do, Sarah? To make you leave? Did you ever even love me? Was he worth it?" Still nothing. Motionless. Silent. No sobs, no regret, no shouts, no excuses. Just her head down, completely still. It was more painful than D-Day itself. I was rooted to the spot, just staring. And then it got worse. The girls. They'd heard everything. Chloe, my oldest, she'd bottled up so much rage. She stormed downstairs and screamed. Sarah, startled, bolted to the bedroom and locked herself in. That's where we are now. I heard her sobbing for most of the night. Only Lily, our youngest, has tried to talk to her. Chloe and Mia are just avoiding her. I'm going to suggest she stay with her sister until the divorce is final. This cohabitation is unbearable. Everyone was right about Sarah. I was wrong. Wrong about every year, every memory, every life-changing moment we shared. I truly believed she'd break down, beg for forgiveness, confess everything. I thought she'd repent. But she's not that woman anymore. The one who'd drive back to a farmer's market over a $10 change error, that woman is gone. She doesn't value me. Maybe she never did. It's been so unpleasant at home. The girls and I try to keep our routine, but it's impossible. All I want is to fast forward through this. The divorce, the uncomfortable conversations, the inevitable arguments. How do you live with the person who shattered your life? Especially when you have kids. People say it gets better, but I'm so far from that. I just want to yell. All the time. I'm trying to protect the girls, keep them calm, but I don't know how much more I can take. School starts soon. This is my life now. This week has been awful. Sarah, she's been relentless, apologizing, crying, smothering me with attempts to talk, knocking on my door at night. I tried to ignore her, but on Wednesday, I finally just snapped and told her to leave me alone. Then last night it happened. My soon-to-be ex-wife. She came into my room after the girls were asleep. She begged me to talk, not in a frantic, clingy way of the past few days, but with a quiet desperation. I made her eat first, a small act of self-preservation, a way to keep things calm. Then, to avoid the kids, we went out to the garage, sat in my car. And for 3 hours, she finally told me everything. I don't know how much to share, but the raw honesty of it was gut-wrenching. I stayed up all night, listening to her cry and crying myself. The rage would bubble up, making me want to scream, then the tears, then the rage again. It was an endless loop of pain. Her sister, 5 years before COVID, had introduced her to Mark, the AP. At first, no romantic intent, but he was a higher up at the company she wanted to work for. After she got the job, he started flirting, then texting, then pictures, then more texts. Just before COVID, it turned physical. She claimed she wanted to tell me, but her sister convinced her to keep it secret. My wife claimed she went no contact, but Mark contacted her as soon as lockdowns eased. She went back to him, over and over. It never truly ended. She had a 5-page packet of handwritten notes detailing every lie. Weekend getaways with the girls, work trips, traffic jams, parent visits, shopping excursions. They were all just elaborate excuses to be with him. Hearing it all, knowing I believed every single one of those lies without question, it made me sick to my stomach. She confessed she fell in love with Mark. He was older, divorced, single, and promised her luxury, trips, a life of excitement. She said the thrill was too much to resist. She started fantasizing about escaping her family duties, about fleeing because the everyday routines of family life bored her. Bored? Can you believe it? Midway through, I started crying, then I lost my temper again. How could I not? This was the woman I loved, telling me she was bored with our life. When she finished, she immediately pivoted, saying how much she loved me, always would, and would do anything to keep our marriage. It felt rehearsed, manipulative. After half a lifetime with her, I know her tells. I know when she's being shady. I was more composed this time, but I still lashed out. I mocked Mark, telling her he had multiple girlfriends and she was just one he was ready to discard. She looked genuinely offended by that. I had so many cutting remarks I'd imagined saying, millions of thoughts in my head. But only one question broke through the chaos. If Mark were still alive, and you had to choose between me and him, who would you pick? She hesitated, just for a second. Then she whispered, "That's not fair." I pressed her. "Finally," she said, "of course, I'd choose you." "You're lying again," I told her. "And that's why I'm divorcing you." She started to cry again. We sat in the car, her weeping, me utterly exhausted. I just told her, "We're getting a divorce. We owe it to our kids to be good parents and get along." I told her I hoped she'd be a decent enough person to make this amicable, to end it fairly, after all the suffering she'd caused. That, I said, would show me she truly loved me. I meant it, every word. I wasn't trying to be petty, though it felt like a perfectly wrapped final statement. I leaned over, kissed her forehead, and told her, "I would have loved you forever." Then I got out and went to bed. That was it. I barely slept last night, and I'm struggling tonight too. I have no idea what comes next. At least now, she can't challenge the divorce, I hope. I'm back to crying, back to anger, back to depression. Hearing everything was unbelievably difficult. It never seems to end. One minute I feel strong, the next, something else hits. It feels like months have passed, not just days. Imagine that. The one woman I've ever loved, the person I shared my entire life with, telling me she cheated for over 4 years, not because of problems or a dead bedroom or falling out of love. No, just because she was bored. I still don't know if that makes it better or infinitely, excruciatingly worse.